Hello. This book here, of course the title flipped around, is Uzumaki by Junji Ito. And it is a horror, and it really had quite the effect on me. It scarred me for weeks. This manga is about our two main characters, Kirie and Shuichi, from the town Kurozucho, and it is a town which has been haunted by the idea of spirals, cursed even. This book is not necessarily a linear plot, but it's more sub-stories that link in, with each sub-story showing a different supernatural event that has something to do with spirals affecting the people of this town. Now, our author, Junji Ito, is a man renowned for his grotesque, intricate, detailed art that is absolutely terrifying. Now, the best part of these books is the art that helps portray this horror. And you wouldn't think that spirals would be something scary. You'd think a monster would be scary, but the idea of spirals just creates this eerie atmosphere. Junji Ito used his art and the idea of the spiral to inflict psychological and physical changes and horrors on the people of Kurozucho. There are a few things I mentioned before which I think are extremely important, and so these are two aspects in the manga that are critical to understanding why it's so beautiful and terrifying. Firstly, the effect of his art and the imagery is one of the most important parts to making us feel fear while reading. Secondly would be the significance behind the idea of spirals and how it creates this symbolic beauty within the horror. Okay, so the effective imagery in this manga being it full of art, because it's to create fear and make us unsettled. Junji Ito's art is terrifying with these spirals, but what makes it even more terrifying is there's no explanation as to why the spirals have affected it like this. The pictures, it just work, like it just is. There's no explanation. The art shown in the chapters are random, weird, unstoppable. You can't explain it. It's gross, it's disgusting, and throughout the whole thing, it just perfectly combines into this combination of horror. But essentially, all the art has something to do with some spiral horror concept, and it eerily preys on your fears. And what I mean by that is the spookiest imagery shown within the manga is to do with some amalgamation of human or object dismemberment or disfigurement, to do with like these spiral concepts. So what it was that impacted me and makes us feel fear because of this imagery is what I said before, the fact that combining the spiral mixed with reality just creates this uncanny picture that can't physically be explained, and that's also what makes it more scary, is that you just don't know how it works. Monsters, the uncanny and the abnormal play a big part in humans' fear. We naturally find it spooky. Clearly, relating our perception of reality with the idea of spirals is very uncanny and just naturally creates fear. Now, moving on to I think the most important critical part of this manga is the symbolism behind spirals. Junji Ito's work on Uzumaki was not cliché at all. It instilled fear differently. Instead of a monster to scare us, it was not a monster, it was an idea. Spirals, as I've said before. Now, why did Junji Ito decide to use spirals to create this horror? Well, there's a lot of significance behind spirals. Because they play a big part of it. They are infinite, an infinite spiral. They're hypnotic. They suck you in. You can't fight against the nature of a spiral. It's never ending. It's a freaky work of nature that morphs the whole town into an abomination. So the effect behind the significance of how a spiral works and how it makes us feel fear in the story is the fact that spirals are infinite and that keeps going. And that the fear that you cannot fight against this power is just terrifying to the people in the story and for the reader. near the end, we all thought that they would actually finally escape and beat the spiral, but it doesn't happen. The spiral is merely nature, and it completely takes over the whole town. And what happens is they all actually become one with the spiral in a way, and what I'm saying is, despite how scary it was over the whole course of the thing, it was just beautiful to see nature take its course. And same with the rest of the whole manga. Each sub-story, while it had a scary ending, ominously, it was also a happy ending at the same time, because they became one with nature, and nature just took its course. And I think that's just a really beautiful part of the story, and I think Junji Ito wanted to encapsulate that whole idea. I learned to consider certain features that are necessary for your own writing. So, for example, linking back to the first aspect about imagery, when writing my life writing, fiction writing, even poetry, it helped me consider the effect that imagery might have when I'm writing that stuff myself, and how it can reflect on what I'm trying to present and what the readers may feel. So for a few of my own fiction writings, I added lots of descriptive imagery to help boost the effect that they will have. And this is because imagery helps create an atmosphere for the audience to perceive. It can make them feel scared, happy, calm. It can make them relate to the world, feel like they're in the world themselves. So through his art, he presented this massive amount of imagery to make us feel absolutely terrified. And that was my lit crit on Uzumaki by Junji Ito. Thank you for watching.